California is a breeding ground for, well, brainlets, but also how people's activism starts to really bleed into other companies or industries, right? We saw this with like climate stuff, and we know how their hyper emphasis on green energy and everything else, and that's then led to Gavin Newsom talking about paying people to use generators so they don't have to have rolling brownouts and blackouts and stuff. Seems to be working fantastic over there. But gaming has been another one. We've talked about, though not specifically just used for gaming, with energy usage for, graphics cards and stuff. Yeah. California has been the breeding ground for legislators and lawmakers to try to mitigate those issues or things that they see issues in, like the gaming industry. We have another one here, which is fucking hilarious. This is the title. It's coming from Bloomberg Law. Gaming's bro culture is what they're calling it. Faces a crackdown from California. Agency takes on public fight to battle bias in gaming. Tough tactics against industry giants divide lawyers. So this is what's going on. California is taking the lead in cracking down on bro culture in video games and enforcement actions targeting two of the industry's biggest players, Activision, Blizzard, and Riot Games, a unit of Tencent Holdings. The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing sounds like a disastrous fucking organization, or rather government agency. Employed or empowered by strong state laws on workplace bias, conducted investigations into two companies and sued Activision last month over allegations of sexual harassment and discrimination. You guys know all about that. The agency's actions are sending a strong message to the gaming world and to workers eager to publicize troublesome workplace practices. Lawyers and industry watchers said it also provides a template for civil rights and employment regulators in other states to crack down. It's unusual for state agency like the DFEH to pursue such cases itself in court, said Noreen Farrell, executive director of the Equal Rights Advocate, a civil rights organization focused on gender in the workplace. Powerful signal to the gaming industry of the standards it will apply across California, and it may embolden state agencies elsewhere to do the same. That's how that happens, right? California is like the guinea pigs, and then we see if other places are gonna have it implemented. So let's go into a little more detail here. The agency's intervention can be a game changer. The lawyer said DFEH can also bring state resources and public spotlight to bear, raising pressure on companies to address bias and harassment, said Teresa Lawless, a San Francisco civil rights attorney. Agencies tend to have more clout than an individual attorney and can force more public policy changes. DFEH is tasked with enforcing California laws against discrimination, violence, human trafficking, and unlike similar agencies in other states, has teeth. California has some of the strongest state laws in the country addressing harassment and discrimination. So it's certainly a good venue to set standards in the gaming industry. These include clear definitions about what constitutes sexual harassment, which that's not necessarily a bad thing, and strong prohibition against retaliation. California also benefits from the California Fair Pay Act of 2015. So tough taxes, it says. DFEH, and this is talking about the allegations of harassment and discrimination, which says to finalize the $10 million settlement with female employees alleging pay disparities and sexual harassment. The agency said the settlement grossly undercompensated employees for claims that could have been worth as much as $400 million. So $10 million wasn't enough. They needed $400 million. It is highly unusual to see a state agency, much less two agencies, intervene, they're saying. So basically what's happening is, it says, like it says right here, the agency also waives in July when it sued Activision alleging a frat boy work culture. So apparently people are, I guess, sexually harassing female employees. And yeah, If something like that is taking place wherever your company is, that's not good. You know what I mean? You don't want people sexually harassing people, regardless. However, when you start crossing into economics, and then once the state gets generally involved, you get a problem. And what that problem? The state gets involved in like discrimination. You know what I mean? Suits. That's when the shit gets dicey, right? Sexual harassment, that's something that is a very serious thing. And if someone is using aggression upon someone, like making a sexual advancement on someone that clearly is like, I don't want any part of that, in the workplace or wherever, that needs to be fucking stopped, okay? I want to be firm on that. But when you start getting into like pay and discrimination and all that that's a completely different fucking animal, because a lot of those terms are arbitrary. And they say, yeah, we want to define these, but it's not even just with them being arbitrary. It's like, is there a crime here? Well, the state has a law that says this, and this, and there's apparently a crime. So you know what that ends up leading to? It leads to what you get in other industries, like, for example, with Hollywood, where people then no longer are hired based on merit, right? So like right now you have a bunch of females, for example, in DC. Now, I'm not saying it's for the same reason, DC and Marvel, for the same reason, have basically the industry by the balls, right? We've talked about the whole underground network, for example, that they had, where they were, you had these female comic pros who, Whisper Network, I believe was what it was. Well, they basically have a bunch of male comic pros or people in the industry that they're basically blackmailing effectively. Unfortunately, that's an overcorrection, right? It's an overcorrection, but they got the industry by the balls because of it. So this is why you saw, okay, we want to get the bad attention off of us, and whether they are required to legally or not, which in California's case, it seems like they will be more so required legally to do such a thing. You end up in people in positions that shouldn't be there. But because they could check a box and get the signaling off or signal in that regard, or they had some settlement where, okay, now we're going to hire because we need to pay these guys X amount of percentage to make sure they represent the women. Like you get people with in positions that have no desire not that they have no desire to be there. They probably shouldn't be there. So don't be surprised if those companies in settlements or anything else start to, because of the pressure that's coming by way of the state, make policy changes within their government, which a lot of these companies are already making shit games anyway, but it's not like they're going to get any better. But they'll certainly start getting more and more blunt about what they're going to signal with. So the sexual harassment thing is one thing. You don't want anything like that existing ever. But when we start talking about discrimination and, oh, this person looked at me funny or acted a certain way, or this my male colleague who's better than me makes more money than me type shit, there needs to be criminal or civil charges in that regards. Okay, we start entering into a completely different territory. So have no fear, California is here to end bro culture, whatever the fuck that means, in California. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.